well, a lot of people ask me about how I use my setup and how I rig my stuff together and cable up and where it goes and what it goes through and etc, etc. So I thought I'd just do a video of all the equipment I'm using and how it's connected together. The guitar I use all the time is my Ibanez JS1000 Damascus pickups, the ones that come with it. And the majority of the demo I'll do will be through the humbucker, back humbucker pickup. Okay, start off when my guitar goes, the cable jack lead goes into input of the Boss noise suppressor, and the output and all the dials on the noise suppressor are set to 0 because it's just the fact it's on suppresses the noise of stomp boxes. Okay. The output of the noise suppressor goes into the input of the GT6. Now, the GT6, the only things I'm using on this on every patch is always the same. I use an EQ from the preamp, but there's no gain and no distortion whatsoever used by this. This is a custom preamp I've set up, which has just got my preference of EQ and levels, etc. And then the output of the GT6 goes directly into the input of my Valve King head, the clean channel, and this is my EQs. The treble's like usually to about there, mids kind of pointing that direction, and the bass, as you can see by the dots, and the volume is just how you like it. I don't use it much of the presence or the resonance, as they kind of amplify the tone a bit too trebly, so I'd use that more if I was playing a live gig. Generally I use the reverb from the amp, just give it a bit of sweetness. I'll let you hear that. You can amplify the reverb. Okay. Now, the sound I'm going to hear now is nothing but the guitar, the clean preamp that I've set up on the GT6 and amp. None of the distortion boxes are getting used. That's my driest, cleanest signal. There's nothing there apart from the preamp of the GT6. None of the distortions, any distortion from the GT6 is none of it's being used. Okay, I never use any digital distortion whatsoever from the GT6 or the amp. Okay, now that's the base for all my patches. All of my sounds are based on that. Everything goes through that preamp. Now, I have two configurations I use of distortions. I generally would use a DS1. Now that will go into the loop of the noise suppressor, and the DS1 will go into the SD1, and that will go into the loop of the noise suppressor. Now the reason being because the suppressor suppresses the stomp box hum, and I'll display that to you once I crank these both up. Then you might be able to hear this if I turn the amp up, which sounds like shit. So what I do is I turn the NS on, and you see the noise is gone. Okay, so generally for rhythms, I will use the DS1 on its own for rhythm distortion. And if I want kind of a more lead overdriven distortion, I will add the SD1. Okay. Now, what I will do is if I'm doing a solo and into delay, then all I'll do is I'll change the patch on my GT6 to the soul patch, which is preset, which will just be a case of the same as the before, the preamp patch from before, but it'll have probably with more volume and more delay. So if I add in the delay, we hear now the delay. That would generally be my solo. Generally, it'd be my solo tone. Okay. Now, I also have other patches that I use that are with turning the distortions off, no distortion. I have preamps, presets patches. For example, this one is heavy on delay. Okay, now all the effects that I use, like minus distortion, all the effects that I use from the GT6 are usually distortion is get put through them. Now the problem with putting distortion through certain effects, like pedal shifters, whammy, shifting, octave, harmony effects, the problem with these is when you put distortion through them, the note doesn't harmonise because the tone signal isn't clean enough. So this is what leads me on to my second configuration. Now the first configuration I've just showed you with the distortions is the main one I would use to play like rock, 80s rock, Satriani, stuff like that. When I need to use distortion with pedal shifting and harmonizers and octavators and all this kind of stuff, I have my second configuration which is wired differently, so I'll show you that now.